Hey, Side Hustle Saturday community. It's time for another edition of Hustle Talks, where we dive deep into the grind, the wins, and the lessons of entrepreneurs making waves. Now, today we're sitting down with my girl, Tia Johnson, the powerhouse CEO behind Fresh Bloom Bins, a company that's flipping the script on cleanliness and sustainability. Now, from tackling the toughest, grimiest, nastiest jobs to pioneering eco-friendly solutions, Tia's journey is proof that hustle, heart, and a solid game plan can turn any idea into a thriving business. So grab your snacks, your notepads, because we are about to uncover the secrets behind Tia's success. It's time for Hustle Talks, y'all. Let's get it. So, what was the aha moment for you that you were like, all right, this could be a business. This was the light bulb that went out. What was the story? I know the story, but I want everybody else to hear the story. What was the story that got you into Fresh Bloom Bins?
Well, I always tell the story about me and my son arguing about who was going to clean the trash. So at the time, I was already self-employed and I had
Mhm.
spent a lot of time working from home. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the nice mom because normally I'll wait till he get home and he got to take out the trash. Like I don't care if it sits there all day, but it was like one of those days, like it was stinking here. Um, so I was taking the trash out, but then when I got to the trash, I opened it up and put the lid back. And as you can imagine, as a visual, it was flies, it was maggots, it was like funky. And I'm like, this is disgusting, right? Like, so he gets home from school and and I tell him, like, you have to clean the trash can. And he like, what? Like outside? Because we clean the inside trash can.
Yeah.
Uh, but it like, ain't no man, he's stomping through the house. Don't nobody want to clean no trash can. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're cleaning it. Nasty. You take the trash out, yada yada.
Yeah.
And it became a thing. So after like the experience of it all, I sat on my couch and I was like, at that time I had already been in that world of entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and those bugs of like you're solving problems. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of how it like even started. I think as I think about like the birthing experience, like as a mother, there's these things that are deeply rooted in you
Mhm.
as you get the entrepreneur bug. So I knew sitting there, I was like, dang, I'm gonna figure something out. I'm gonna have to build something. I know welders and people in all kinds of trades, and I'm like sending out emails. I was online researching till 5 in the morning. Now I still have my contract job to do the next morning,
Yeah.
and I had found that there was resources out there that was like promoting supporting you, building the business. You get the equipment. It's not a franchise. You gotta learn how to build this business in your territory.
Yeah.
Um, After like just that initial aha moment, I think it became a second like um a way of affirming this was a good business is I had someone that was super close to me, that was actually an employer and just a coach at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was telling her like, I want to do this. And she's like, send me all the information. This sounds really cool. Um, and she called me back. She's like, this is amazing, right? Like, this is amazing. She's like, girl, I gotta put on gloves just to take out my trash. You know how many germophobics it is out here? Like, I would love your service. And I really like genuinely had so much respect. I still have so much respect for her. Love her to pieces. Like,
Mhm.
because she was the first after I left corporate, she was the next employer that I had.
Mhm.
And when I, uh, one, you go through the company as like a referral process, but when I met her, I didn't have to shy or be, have the secret side hustle. I came into her company knowing I wanted to build a business teaching girls personal finance.
Yeah.
And I shared that with her. And because I shared that with her, she consistently put me in positions to be successful. And then she's always challenged me in other ways as a successful businesswoman, entrepreneur, real
Hmm.
estate mogul. You get a lot of knowledge and just a lot of wisdom that you could just pour into people.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that when you have that much knowledge, you take your time and you kind of like, hey, I'm gonna keep you a little bit closer.
Yeah.
They see something in you sometimes you don't see in yourself, or
Yeah.
yeah, or they just know like I'm watching you. Okay, I see how you moving. Like, like
Yeah.
I'm not holding your hand through the whole process, but I see you.
Yeah. I think mentorship is important. And I think sometimes people take it for granted. I think and it's to me, when somebody says, "Will you be my mentor?" and you accept that challenge, I think you need to take that serious. It's not us just getting on the phone and we chatting or you sending me inspirational quotes. It's almost like, I'm asking you to be my godmother or my godfather of my child, which is my business, and I want you to help me flourish and grow my business. Drop me some gems. Help me out. How important is that to you? How important is mentorship to you?
Mentorship to me is a lifeline. It is a catch-22. So for me, accountability is one of the things that I know that I've learned to like identify what are you good at and then how do you become better in a sense. And what I found out is that I show up different when I have that level of accountability. I show up better when I know that like that person is taking their time to give
Mm-hmm.
me those things, give me those resources. Whether I'm paying for it or it's free, right? Like, so for me, it was always one of the things where you always do need like a travel guide in a sense of like, hey, I'm going to uncharted territory before. Do I want to try to get there on my own and deal with 10 times more bumps and bruises? Or who can I align myself with that can maybe help me in a way that I save myself? Because she used to always tell me, Tia, you're going to keep running your head into that brick wall, and I'm going to let you. I'm going, right? Like, I told you so somewhere along the route, but like if until you can figure it out, but it's like that good versus evil on your shoulder, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have these things that like you're thinking of, but a mentor can help see things that you haven't seen. They can give you knowledge and experience, but most importantly, they give you room to grow. They're not
Mhm.
dictators and they're not telling you what to do. They
Yeah.
might nudge you or strongly advise, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they still give you enough rope where you can feel like empowered and a decision maker of
Mhm.
the direction that what's best.
Yeah. I think we need not to take mentorship lightly. Not at all. Now, fresh bloom bins, you actually clean the bins. It's not a trash service. You're not taking out trash. You are cleaning the bins that the trash is being held in, and you have residential and commercial services that you provide for that. Tell me, how was it like? Okay, so you had the idea, you got the mentor. So how you gonna get this puppy off the ground? What were the steps that you were like, all right, this is what I did. This is the first thing I did, and this is where I'm at today.
So the first thing I did was found a way to get the equipment. So
Her trucks, I'm gonna put a video up. Now these ain't no U-Haul trucks that she didn't, converted. These are legit trucks.
yes, these are customized A compliant equipment, which is a huge selling point when we think about how did I decide to move forward. Initially, I wanted to start this business in 2019.
Okay.
It was kind of one of those things where it's like, here, you have a lane. I was in financial literacy and financial empowerment world. And that was the lane that I thought I would be in to build a successful business. And when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, ooh, so shiny, right? That's what we call them in my world. Like, ooh, so shiny. Like, and it was kind of pretty like, is this a ooh so shiny? Or the really determining factor was when the person that was really close to me was like, gonna invest, but I don't think you have enough experience in the trash world. So I'm out.
Um,
And that was a crusher for me. I was like,
mhm.
maybe I'm gonna put this little business on hold for another time.
Yeah.
And then when COVID hit, I was like, girl, don't you ever let nobody kill your dreams. Don't you ever, like, if you hear a no, it doesn't matter the relationship, you still have the wisdom to discern how you want to move forward.
Right.
At that time, I was like, man, I'm putting my foot on the gas. I'm selling this like I already have the truck in my backyard. And I thought about going residential. And what my experience in residential has been is like door to door. We get the
Hmm.
most successful campaigns, not out of like social media, but really like putting a face and a heart to a company. And I
Hmm.
was like, ain't nobody open the door for nobody that they don't know right now. We're barely opening the door for people that we do know. Like it was crazy. Yeah, it was like baby showers in the parking lot. Like it was just like crazy, right? Like it was people wanted to connect, but they wasn't connecting, especially to like strangers. So I decided to pivot and go after government. I seen the need and the niche to like keep things clean and sanitized. And as I began to cultivate some of my past relationships, I really was able to get kind of like bumped along to the person, to the decision maker. And
Yeah.
at that time, they were like, we got these tractors. They've been in the field for 20, 25 years. They've never been clean. They're disgusting. We've never had an efficient way to do anything with them. I'm like, yeah, I am here to solve your problem. And we won that bid. Like we won a government bid
Mhm.
in our first big home run and that's how we got really our foot in the door to not only validation, revenue, and we could kick off in a different way than others that had started in the industry really started off. A lot of people were going with that one customer at a time and
Yeah.
building that residential model.
Yeah. So in the trash industry, which is what you're in, that's a good old boys men's industry, and there are not many women in that industry. How did you break that glass ceiling? How were you able to like, listen, I'm gonna elbow my way up in here. Women can do trash too. How about that?
No, honestly, I never looked at it in that lens. I
Mhm.
was so intimidated by my lack of a big experience.
Mhm.
I really just showed up to listen and learn.
Mhm.
Um, and what I learned is like I'm a salesperson at heart. Like
Yeah.
like that's like if you've ever kind of been on this journey, there's something that you learn very early on as an entrepreneur. And
Uh-huh.
I don't care how good those cakes, cookies, and pies is. If you don't know how to sell, it's the end of the story. So
End of the road for you.
it's the end of the road. So for me, it was one of those things like part of sales is listening and understanding. So I
Mhm.
really took that type of approach where I knew I had this one opportunity.
Mhm.
I knew that in my sales background and experience that I needed to listen and understand the problem
Yeah.
and continue to create solutions. And by showing up and listening and learning, it gave me that boost of confidence to say, man, we solve problems that y'all have never been able to solve. We solve problems in a collaboration manner. We solve problems in a partnership. And because we showed up that way, we do now have validation. I can tell you, not through my words, but really through my actions of the jobs that we've been able to accomplish and the people who showed up to help me. Like the staff that I hired, we're talking about people who getting it out the mud. We're talking about like street dudes, criminals, felons, like all of this stuff. Like these dudes show up. They was driving out of town with me. They like
Oh, wow.
the camaraderie around like we're gonna support this female. I think they probably gave me more of that, like, Dad, this boss lady doing it. Like, okay, we see you, boss lady. They
Right.
gave me that type of respect, but the industry overall, I think it was just like one of those consistent challenges is like show up. Let me see what you can do. Okay, here's the problem. Solve it. And that gave us like the validation.
Okay. So you got validated, you got your mentor, you doing this. What were some setbacks that you had? Like maybe this is a mistake. I changed my mind. Psych.
just like you, right? Like,
Just
yeah, so
playing.
you're yeah.
This segment of Hustle Talks is brought to you by Studio 951. Need a game changing marketing strategy? At Studio 951, we help businesses stand out with expert branding, social media management, content creation, web design, and video editing. From crafting eye catching visuals to driving engagement, we bring your brand to life online and beyond. Ready to grow? Let's build something amazing together. Visit studio 951.com today.
The universe kind of plays in so many different ways. There's been several challenges,
Mm-hmm.
um, personal and professional.
Mm.
So, on the personal side, when we think about funding, a lot of times we're going to our friends and family,
Yeah.
um, for initial funding and resources.
Mm-hmm.
So there was times where there's money that's involved with family, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure I get them their money back. The jobs aren't coming through.
Yeah.
um, there's like this disconnect that happened there. Personally, my mental had been challenged. I am dealing with some rough and rugged around the edges. Like, am I capable of leading these? Like, I don't know that I have the skills to boss, right? Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
cool with it, like, and where do you find that leverage? Losing that government contract, really having to say, I thought it was going to look one way, and it turned
Mm-hmm.
out to be something completely different, and figuring out how to be able to pivot, how to be able to, have that like crying session. But those mentors also are the reason that you do move forward in those storms.
Yeah.
Because even though like there's been times I'm like, I'm crazy, sometimes I still feel like I'm going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also get to go back to those people, and I have very safe places. I have very safe places where I can say, I don't know how to do this, or can you help me with this? And I don't feel like I'm asking questions that I should already know the answer to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have people who are like champion and allying behind me in the rooms that I'm not even walking in,
Yeah.
to help me and lay that out for me. So I would probably say a whole book I can write on some of the challenges. I
Mm-hmm.
would say the one that stands out the most is when we deliver trash cans in Kansas City, Missouri. That's
Yeah.
a 10-hour drive. And I did that
Wow.
4 months. And I was, flying people out to Kansas, driving people out to Kansas, flying people back so they can spend time with their families or get back to for their kids' birthdays. I was leaving my family behind. And then those therapy sessions, I call them, because those were some, nice car rides. I was able to, rock it out is what I call it. If you ever watch Grey's Anatomy, where I can listen to my music, I can have a whole crying session, I can have a self therapy session.
Yeah.
Um, and that's how I was able to kind of get through those things. It's going back to like, why did I start this? What do I want to happen? And can I do what I want to do in this industry,
Yeah.
and still be myself?
Yeah. I know, as entrepreneurs, we are all up in the business. I say, we're in the weeds. But when because I know you, and when I first met you, you had the bomb marketing material. I mean, I was like, what you need me for? I mean, you got door hangers, you got a website up. What you need little old me for? Um, Tell me about the importance of marketing strategies for you and your business, and how did it help you grow?
Oh my gosh. I mean, marketing is probably the girlfriend to sales, right? Like,
Right.
uh, we're dating, right? Like, this is a courtship. We're going somewhere or what, right? So I think once you understand like the sales aspect of it and look at what marketing techniques is going to work for your industry, you want to make sure that you align yourself with people who are stronger and maybe have more experience and
Yeah.
the resources to do what you possibly cannot do. I believe I'm a very strong salesperson.
Yeah.
I believe that when I step in a room, I'm stepping in a room to close a deal. And when I've done all the homework, the research, um, to give me that confidence. But from a creative standpoint, I don't know how to make a PowerPoint presentation, right? Like that's not my skill set.
Yeah.
I can probably give you enough content to make you like a lethal weapon, but I don't know how to like make it pop and stand out.
Hmm.
So early on, if you've ever read the book, I will always recommend it to everybody, The E-Myth. The E-Myth is one of my favorite next to like Rich Dad Poor Dad. They're both classics. But
Hmm.
he really outlines how to run a business versus being self-employed. And that's being in that self-employment, if that's not where you want to be, you are going to get into burnout.
Hmm.
And he talks about a company called Patty's Pie in Walmart.
I,
And
yeah.
we've all heard of Walmart, and very few people have heard about Patty's Pies, right?
Right.
Um, and so in that book, he really kind of gave me some tips and other mentors along the way. It's like, do you want a business? Well, and how do you want that business to run? And how does that business support the lifestyle and the goals that you want? So
Yeah.
you learn very early on, hire out. Like if you are in my business, I'm not the technician, right? Like I'm not technically going out and cleaning the trash cans. I would spend more time making sure that I recruited the right people who are really good at that and
Yeah.
that I can do what I'm really good at. So that's kind of how I've always looked at that. And I'll never forget I was in a class. It had to have been 15 years ago. I feel like I'm like dating myself.
Hmm.
And he said, um, he was a quick tip expert. I'm not an accountant, right? He's like, I charge my customers at least $100 an hour to do this work for them. I took
Hmm.
somebody else's product and I just got so super familiar with it that I became an expert. He was actually helping develop like the certification programs that QuickBooks now
Yeah.
uses.
Yeah.
And he said, why would I cut my own grass? I paid a guy $25 an hour to cut my grass. If I stop going at my $100 an hour rate to go cut the grass, I'm cheating myself and I'm blocking somebody else's blessing who enjoys doing it, right? Like, don't spend your time trying to do something that you know you don't like, you're not good at,
Hmm.
but you know your value is somewhere else. And hearing that like 15 years ago is like mind blowing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not cutting my own grass. Like,
Right. Right. I think the big thing with that though, is the money. You've got this business, and how are you going to pay the people? How do you get the funding? And I think that's where kind of like people get stuck at, is the funding. How did you overcome that? Well, how did you do that?
I think you have to get creative, right? Like, so there's another good book. Like I'm a money magnet kind of reader, right? Like,
Okay.
uh, so it's called "You're a Badass at Making Money," and money is always the issue. Like
Yeah.
when you come from lack and not no resources,
Hmm.
you kind of develop that kind of mindset. So the first thing I always challenge people on is your thinking. Um, I'm watching Undercover Billionaire, so I'm just going to say it because I like literally that's what I'm watching. And the question I ask myself is, who has my money? Right? Like, if
Okay.
the money is not in my account, it doesn't mean the money's not out there, right?
Right.
Money is circulating all the time. So I'm
Hmm.
asking, who has my money? And then I have to figure out how I can move it from their bank account to my bank account.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm feeling like I'm in a financial fog or struggle, that's one of the questions that I go to. And then start small. No, you're not going to go get the best marketing ad agency, right?
Right.
Like, but you just turn on your phone and be like, hey, I need a door hanger, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then the make the go, I need this door hanger to make me X amount of dollars. And then start asking for quotes. Like I wanted a quote on my garage doors at one point. I knew I wasn't about to get it like when I sent him that quote, but it was clear enough on my vision that
Yeah,
when I did pull the trigger, I knew what I was facing. I could set a realistic goal.
yeah,
It's just like a SMART goal, right? Like if you just say, I don't have the money, and then you don't have no strategy to get the money or a path to be able to move forward, you're going to
hmm,
find yourself stuck. And once you're stuck, then you find yourself in this idea of like lack and limiting belief. But
yeah,
if you can somehow, create a strategy, give yourself a vision, set a plan or expectation of like, if I don't have it today, what can I do in order to obtain it?
yeah,
And that's where I looked at like marketing. I made a huge investment early on to be able to get some of the things that I needed. And I just continued to repurpose those things or use those until it was time to maybe look at something else.
yeah. I think that that's really important because you're right. If once the money dries up and you don't have that thinking or mindset of, okay, let me be smart about this. How am I going to get the money? I'm not going to give up. If you don't have those things in place, that's it.
And those good mentors, I'm telling you, because
And the
sometimes,
resources.
yeah,
And the resources.
the key to life to me at this stage in my life is resources and relationships, like faith, resources and relationships. Like if
Yeah,
you are lacking faith, it's gonna look hard. And when the storm comes, you're not gonna really learn how to dance in the rain. Like if you don't have the resources and the relationships, like and don't know how to achieve those. I learned that from going to church, right? Like my pastor, like he talking about resources and relationships all the time. And I'm just like, I think you might be on to something, right?
yeah,
Like,
preacher.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you might be on to something, right? Like, and then I look at the stages in my life where I'm like, man, this was so hard, right? Like,
Mhm.
Lawrence Thunderberg, he's here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Awesome dude, awesome book. And he talks about in his book like these stages, right? Like if you had a certain income level, you're probably hanging with seven other people in that income level. So
Wow.
yeah,
I say
yeah,
that too. That's so true.
yes. His book outlines it for you, right? Like
Mhm.
so you got to get uncomfortable to be in different social classes. You got to get uncomfortable to go outside your network. I remember flying to Florida to stay at a retreat that I could not afford. Like, so I'll tell you this story. I joined an organization called CEO Space, and I only joined it because I heard Lisa Nichols was part of it at some point, and I love
Yeah.
Lisa Nichols. And they had called me with, hey, we're running a special. You can join for $2,500 for a lifetime membership. I
Yep.
signed up. I never paid $2,500 for a membership, right? Like, but I understood the power of the network. So
Right.
then she says, we're having an event in like December. It's like October or November. You need to be here. And I'm like, no, I just paid you $2,500. Christmas is around the corner, right? Like I
Right.
literally said, like, I can't afford it. So then I said, okay, stop. What if you could afford it? That was my first question. So I looked up flights.
Hmm.
I took a Spirit flight. I think it might have cost me like $129 round trip. I'm like, oh, I could do 129. So then she gives me the hotel. The hotel is the one that's owned by Beverly Johnson, like the at the time she was the CEO of BET.
Yeah.
It's like $1,500. Can't afford it, right? Like not gonna happen. I was like, okay, so I need a rental car, like so I can get back and forth. I'll sleep in my car. This is what I'm telling myself. So I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I think rental car and flight, I'm up to like $500. I'm like, okay, I can do that. And
Uh-huh.
then I remember there was a friend of mine that moved to Florida. And I'm like, I'm gonna call her because I don't know what part, like we had been like disconnected since she moved. She's like, girl, that's like 30 minutes from me. I'm like, can I stay with you?
Yeah.
So now I went from I can't afford it, I don't have it to like taking a step back. And I actually did. I did a man, listen, I did a 7-day retreat. You literally are like learning and networking from like 7 in the morning to like sometimes 9 o'clock at night, sometimes even later.
Mhm.
Um, and you got everything. I got so much knowledge that I didn't even, it's knowledge that I'm just now starting to apply today in my business. Okay, like I I wasn't even ready for my cup to overflow like that.
Right.
But I got out of it some things, relationships and good sales techniques. Like you're
Mhm.
sitting in the room with closers and they're showing you the technique of how to be a good salesperson. You're sitting in a room with investors who
Yeah.
are telling you how to put together a pitch deck. And I was like, okay, so when you go from that, like that limiting belief to like mapping out and I can, or what can I do in the meantime, it really starts to shift the atmosphere and it really like does something to your soul, right? Like, and then
Right.
you start to again align with those relationships and those resources that really drives home like the direction of where you want to go in your company or your personal development.
Yeah, I think that's key. You tapped into something right there. I just did a collaboration partnership with a brand and an influencer. And when I tell you, I learned, even though I don't think he was trying to teach me anything, but I learned a lot I learned about building a community. I learned about some extra things on social media. And I gained some people in my community, not that that's what I was looking for when I did the partnership, but it allowed me to build and strengthen my community by meeting new people socially online. So I think the importance of, like you said, relationship, collaboration, partnership is so key when it comes to being an entrepreneur and building your business. I think we forget about that and the networking.
It's key, and I'm a little shaky in networking too. I've learned to develop, like, a certain amount of skill to it,
Uh-huh.
um, when because you have to get uncomfortable, right? Like, and you're already busy, and you have all these
Yeah.
other things, so you're like, "I just don't have time for that," right? Like, but
Right.
marketing, networking, they kinda all go in hand in hand, right? Like, the more people can know your story, the more people can validate your story, the more people can share, right? Like, learning to be a good storyteller is part of that, where you can draw people in and they want to help you. One of my other favorite books is called Contagious. And Contagious is just one of those like really good, fun business marketing books. Um, but you do want to create almost a sense of a wildfire, and you
Yeah.
cannot do that alone. Malcolm Gladwell talks about that. You got to have your connector. You got to have your, oh my gosh, it's your connector. Uh, oh, I'm gonna have to send it. I can't think of it. I'm stuck. But it's like these three components. And how do you take a match to light a wildfire? That's the
Yeah.
premises of the story. And it's like those different things. I'm gonna have to look it up. And it makes all of the difference on like, am I out here rowing this boat on my own?
Hmm.
Or do I have a team and we're all rowing in the same direction? And think
Hmm.
about like how that would feel. Like I'm going against the storm, right? Like, I mean, biblically, like we talk about this in the Bible. Like I'm in this boat, right? Like, and it's a storm. Like, am I afraid? Do I have the right people in the boat? Are we rowing in the right direction? And all of those things come into play.
Yeah, it does. You're a good, you read a lot. I just now started reading um the One Person $1 Million Business. And it's really good, y'all. It's on Amazon audiobooks for all y'all audiobook people out there. But it talks about how you can, the opposite of what you were saying, but talks about how you can run your business with just one person or just scaling it down. So for the people that are out there that are like, I need to grow my business, but I don't have the funds to grow my business, I don't have the revenue, it gives you ideas on how to still scale your business with little to no employees and still be the $1 million business. So I'm gonna put these books in the description See, you guys sent me the list of those books that you were talking about. So our listeners at Side Hustle Saturday can be blessed and enriched with some of the knowledge that's out there, and hopefully it can help them grow their business as well. Now,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think we need to um, try to encourage and uplift each other as much as possible and get it how you can get it. And that's through audiobooks. So anyway,
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, our sponsor, Complete One LLC, has got you covered. Need a game-changing website, eye-catching logo, sleek business cards, or even expert video editing? They do it all, because your success is their priority. At Complete One LLC, they don't just create, they elevate, helping you think strategically and bring your vision to life. Your brand deserves the best, and they're here to make it happen. So why wait? Let's build something great together. Visit Complete One LLC today, where your vision gets completed.
Yes, and I'm a library junkie too. So if you don't
oh
have
my
the
God.
time to get the audio, right, like
Yeah,
subscription credits, like you can get it from the library. I have a degree in library, is what I tell everybody.
that's true.
It's my first office.
I haven't been to the library since I was a youngster. I don't even have a library card. But you brought up a good idea. I think I'm gonna start putting like a little reading thing together on Side Hustle Saturday for people to like read this book. This is pretty good. And you gave us about what, seven of them you reading right now?
Well, these are all the ones I read in the past. I do have about seven in my cart. The one that I'm like leaning towards right now, is really just more on like a personal development side.
Yeah,
Um, Your Next Five Moves is the one that I'm actually reading for business. Your Next Five Moves is like really just like breaks things down and like when we talked about earlier, like you don't have the funds. These books, these authors, these entrepreneurs, they are
mhm,
also guides, right? Like
right,
they're giving you the information for 9.99. I think Jay-Z
right.
said that or something like all my information is in my album, right? Like they're giving you the information. So sometimes like when I'm reading a book or listening to a book on audio, I'm taking notes. One, I might go follow them on LinkedIn or their social platforms. They
Yeah.
give reference to other people in the book, so I'm going to look for those people as
Mhm,
well,
mhm,
and you get to know them maybe from a distance. Maybe they're not like your immediate contact, but they're giving you enough information. And when you're around really good, successful people, what I've learned is they like other people to be successful. They like
right.
want to help. They or like you might not get the time where they're going to hold your hand through the whole process, but if they see you and you're serious, they might drop an hour of their time. They might meet you on a quarterly or weekly basis,
Mhm,
um, just to be able to help you because it's cool to be that person. Like, man, I helped someone. It feels good. It's human, right? Like,
yeah.
it's everything that we are meant to be to show the good that we do have to be able to lift somebody up and help somebody. Um, so yeah, lots of books, lots of
So,
books.
so where do you see Fresh Bloom Bins? How are you scaling the business to take it to the next level?
The way that we're scaling the business is we really have a model. We clean stuff, we collect stuff, we reclaim stuff. So if
Hmm.
it falls in those three, that's like our first throw it at the wall. Let's see how it makes sense.
Hmm.
And then now we're going to just completed the Goldman Sachs program. We do like a growth strategy. If we go in this direction with cleaning, right? Like I clean trash cans. How much effort and energy am I going to put in commercial and government versus
Yeah.
residential?
Hmm.
The next way that we're looking at it is becoming more of a waste management service. So how can we compete with maybe some of the our larger competitors and carve out a niche in the market that's a good fit for our business model? So
Right.
serving multifamily employees in a way that they necessarily not have been serviced in the past
Hmm.
and really approaching it with like this white glove approach to trash. You don't often really hear that because trash is dirty. It's always looked at this terrible thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I was literally watching something on Amazon called Pitch, where marketing agencies are hired to pitch on big brands,
Hmm.
and they compete against the two. And one of them happened to be Waste Management. And Waste Management at the time was trying to rebrand themselves as not a trash collection company, but a resource company.
Yeah.
And the campaign was Trash Can. And it talks about all the things you can do with resources that are considered wasted or throwaway that you can actually repurpose that to be able to show value to our everyday life and our resources
Hmm.
that we have. So
Hmm.
looking at like other brands and what they're doing in this billion-dollar industry and say, you know what, that aligns with our culture, that aligns with our community, and that aligns with the services our customers want to have.
Yeah.
And if we can really look at it from that lens, that's going to allow our company to scale and grow.
So you're out there, you're doing it, you got kids. How do you find balance? Because I know you can burn out quick being an entrepreneur. You can really burn out quick and like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to chuck up the deuces and I'm out. How do you balance business and personal and find that sweet spot to where you just can keep the wheels going?
Well, I think balance is unreal. So I don't really say balance, but I do think that you want to design a life that you can say, if even if I live this exact same way, I'm okay with it. So
Mm,
defining what life means to you, and that could be your day-to-day life, that can be your long term. And because I've outlined those things what are super important to me, I
mm,
kind of make decisions based on that. So a couple of things that I do traditionally keep in practice is like selfish Saturday. I ain't doing nothing on Saturday that I don't want to do, or I'm
mhm.
not getting paid so well for it that I'm worth giving my Saturday up, right? Like
Right.
if I can give up that Saturday, um, to go hang it with friends or family, with my kids, doing the things that I really want to do. Like I'm doing that with intentionality, and I'm not gonna like boast or brag about it with them, but internally, I know this is the day that I normally do what I want to do, and sometimes that can be staying at home, not being bothered, or that could be out and enjoying the company of my loved ones.
Hmm.
The second thing that I look at is my kids are a little older now, so I went from having like, you know, 10-year-olds to my oldest is 21. Um, Appreciating where you're at in the journey that you're at. When my kids were younger, I was in a space of self-employment because
Hmm.
it gave me the freedom and flexibility to show up and be their mother. So when they got home from school, I was intentionally trying to make sure that dinner was done. When we were be in the car, I would turn the music off and I would take that 2 hours of what I thought not quality time and
Yeah.
talk to them. Have those uncomfortable conversations where they're in the car and they can't jump out the window, right? Like,
Right.
so such and such is doing drugs. What would you do, right? Like right. It's the conversation I want them to have. It's the
Yeah.
life skills that I want them to know about. And like, I remember my oldest, we were like, I was having her practice, like, if somebody asks her to do drugs or alcohol, like, you got to have your line already ready. Otherwise, you're going to sound like you're lying or you're going to say yes, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, tell them that, like, no, my mom drug tested me or something like quick. So you're on your feet. So you already have an answer. So how do I want to engage, like, and be a parent to these children that I brought into the world and
Hmm.
revisit that for time? So could I have tried to run a $1 million business at that time? Probably
Hmm.
not. And I was okay with it. And I
Yeah.
knew that because of where I wanted to go and the legacy that I wanted to create, it will change. So just
Hmm.
because your business looks one way today doesn't mean it's going to look the same 2 years from now. But if it supports the lifestyle that you want at that time, I'd say go for it or have the relationships. And then just the financial aspect of it. I didn't make all of the money in the world starting this business. My Linda Evans taught me about the magic number. So with the magic number, is really how much money can you make, you pay all your bills, and not get out the bed. And
Mm,
learning to scale back. So that meant my daughter at the time would polish my nails. I didn't get my hair done as often as I started
yeah,
when I was working my regular 9 to 5.
yeah,
Um, I got that number down to a realistic number, and I call it risk management. When you can manage your risk, you can take different types of risks, and still be comfortable with it, right? Like, so I was just telling one of my best friends this. I looked at my life insurance policy. I don't care what level I'm at as an entrepreneur. It's one bill that I just never skip, like
mm,
it's on the book. And because of this asset that I have, that if something happened to me, whether I'm traveling or unexpected, my kids will have a lump sum of money. Um, my home, they would have somewhere to live, so they wouldn't be a burden on anybody.
right,
Uh, the second thing that I looked at is my Social Security. I've been working my entire life, so if I became disabled or needed to get SSI, I know how much money I would get from that as well.
yeah,
And then the last thing was after I looked at risk management, accepted the things that were like actively in my life, what could it look like in the future?
yeah,
Um, and this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to build a business that was willable or sellable,
yeah,
and anything that was related to that. So for balance for me is just even if you made the decision to say, on Fridays, I'm going to now be intentional about taking that day off. Um, and that's what business is supposed to be, in my opinion. Flexibility, freedom,
yeah,
giving you, something to support the lifestyle that you want, and not trying to keep up with everybody else. Like, I don't need to be keeping up with the Joneses. I don't need to be keeping up with somebody else is doing in their business. I'm applauding my friends who are doing better than me. I'm helping lifting my other entrepreneur buddies that
hmm,
may not be in the same place as me. And because I can do those things, that is my balance. If I don't want to start meetings till 10 o'clock, I'm going to do my best not to put anything on my calendar before 10 o'clock, right? Like,
hmm,
and that's how you start to find that balance, I think. Is try to get out of the hustle, 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 hustle all the time, like
yeah,
as quick as you can,
yeah,
and start to define these things, these personal things that support the business that you want to have.
I agree. I think you can get tornadoed up into the hustle and get quick burnout instead of focusing on the things that matter, like your personal life, self care, your community, focusing on giving value instead of just trying to, keep up, like you said, with the social media Joneses or the business Joneses. You do what you do best and focus on that, and the business will come. It'll grow because people will notice you, and that will resonate out to everyone else.
Absolutely. And sometimes the business will end. My other business is no longer a business, right? Like I had to make a decision to say, okay, do I want to grow in this waste management space, or do I want to grow in the financial industry space?
Right.
And another good book is Necessary Endings. Um, Necessary Endings taught me how to look at losses differently. Because
Yeah.
normally, the way he describes it in the book is like if you lost a toy as a kid, we always associate loss with this like terrible thing, right? Like, but what did you learn in that experience? How did you grow? What did you learn about yourself? Like there's so many other things. And it's just like any other kind of growth, right? Like, yes,
Right.
do I remember being in school and, swinging on the playground and all the things, right? Like that was a really cool point in my life. But now as an adult, can I still go play on the swings? Yeah, not as often, right? Like
Yeah.
it's still fun, but I have other adult responsibilities, right? So don't
Hmm.
look at everything like ending as being such negative or bad thing. Try to take away from what you got out of that time, and then figure out how you can use some of the good stuff to keep you going forward.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I always finish my interviews with my newbies.
Okay.
The people I haven't interviewed before with this one final question. What was your first side hustle?
Ooh, my first side hustle,
Uh-huh.
uh, if I can go back, I was 11
Hmm.
and was, the paper girl in my neighborhood. So
Okay.
I would get the papers delivered, and I was just telling my son about this, like, they was fronting me papers back in the day, I didn't even know it, right? Like, you would get your papers, you had to go out and collect the money, and then you had to pay them for your
Right.
papers, like, they was like so that was, like, my first side hustle. In my adult world, a financial literacy, teaching girls that money is a mindset more than
Mhm.
the actual physical transaction. So that was my first side hustle.
We need that. We need that in the schools. I
I
think
was working in the school till
money,
COVID.
money and how your relationship with money. Oh, that's a good one. Because
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna stop right there because we can go on and on and on. Tia, thank you for being on the show. I know you, and I had to have you on Side Hustle Saturday Hustle Talks because I think your story is very encouraging, and I think it can be encouraging to other entrepreneurs, whether they get into the trash industry or just want to start their own business. So again, accolades to you. Thank you so much for being on the show. Side Hustle Saturday Community. And we're going to give you a list of those books too. We're going to put them in the description. Side Hustle Saturday Community. This is another episode of Hustle Talks. And you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to you soon. But before I talk to you soon, you know what you need to do. You need to subscribe to this channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, follow me on my Instagram, follow me on my TikTok, and follow me on my Facebook. All of those follows are in the description below. So you know what to do. Get to it. This is another edition of Side Hustle Saturday Hustle Talks, and I'll talk to you soon.